fuck it. We're doing a fucking test run. Make it a wee bit bigger. Watch this fucking video. Fucking do it.
His toe is broken. So what he choose to do? Climb Mount Everest or whatever? This is what Conor did with his broken toe? This is where Conor was with his broken toe. The peak of the tallest mountain in Switzerland. He didn't get there by helicopter. He walked up there with it.
Well, I mean, we didn't see him walk up there. To be honest, he could have been airlifted. What kind of boat did he get? The Lamborghini boat? Is he going to be the first one to come out with... that boss screen is crazy. Is he going to be the first one to come out with the fucking Lamborghini helicopter? I mean, we don't know.
Broken toe. He can't fight, but he can climb to the top of this mountain. That's what you're telling me. That's the story we're going with, and no one is suspicious of that.
Earlier tonight, the UFC gave us a small taste of what the next event here in Vegas will look like. On September 14th, UFC 306 will take place at the Sphere. It marks the promotion's second Noche UFC edition,
Look at that!
celebrating Mexican Independence Day, and will be the first UFC event hosted by the Sphere. Tonight, the UFC unveiled their creative designs for the event on the Exosphere. Alexa Grasso, who defended her flyweight championship at the first Noche UFC, explained the significance of this event.
All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. All right, so we got some stories to talk about here. We're going to talk about Paige Van Zandt's power slap performance, because there's a very mixed reaction. I got to be honest, very mixed reaction, because I did a video about this. You guys may have seen it last week, where I was saying, oh my God, Paige is going to get worked in power slap. And we looked at that video of her that they put out of her like slapping the dummy, and it was on like, it was at Barstool Sports, and it was like, she's got to be trolling us, right? Where she slapped it, and I was like, if that's her slap, she can't do power slap. She's going to get worked, right? I was not bullish on how she was going to do in power slap at all. And I was wrong, son. I was wrong. I apologize, Paige Van Zandt. I apologize. You can hit a lot harder than I gave you credit for. But people are slamming her and calling this a rigged fight.
OnlyFans money in power slap. I don't. Does she have an OnlyFans? Dude? I'm not a huge fan of her. Like, just get that out of the way, you know. Like, I mean, if it turns out that the power slap is rigged, how the hell do you rig it? You just give up sooner? That's crazy. I mean, I would imagine that somebody who has trained striking is going to strike better, more gooder. I don't know. Oops.
And saying that she cheated, which is, I think, what's the right way to put this? Do I think Paige intentionally cheated? No. Do I think that Power Slap rigged it for Paige? Yes. What? Just let me qualify that when we get to the story, all right? Because I will stand by what I just said, but there's some context to all of it. I think she did 1,000 times better than I anticipated, but I do think that the organization like rigged some stuff, and we'll talk about that. Also, we got to talk about Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, Dana White. I know everyone is so tired of talking about this story, but we're going to talk about that story right now because I think I just figured out what's going on. And I will acknowledge I'm a conspiratorial person, but I think I know what's going on, okay? I really think I know what's going on. And I am now, straight up, I don't believe the injury. I don't believe it. Well, that's not true. I think there is a level of probability that he was not actually injured that is high enough that I don't need to be totally ashamed saying this on the channel as a theory. But the end result of this is them fighting at the Sphere, okay? Like, I realize I've already said that, you know? But now, after what I saw today, in 2 different places, I am going to double down on that in a big way. Hey, you know how every YouTuber asks you to subscribe to their channel and they just are like, hey, can you subscribe? And they don't give you anything in return? Today, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and I'm giving you something in return, something you didn't know about. Did you guys know that Alexa Grasso has an underground following about her feet that she just completely feeds into? Like, I saw a short about it earlier, okay? Remember, I'm doing this so you subscribe to my channel, okay? So check this out. This is a thread, Alexa Grasso feet pics and video, dude. Watch this.
This is muy raro. Why do you ask to show my feet? This is very weird, but yeah, I'm gonna do it because it's pretty weird. Okay, so here's my feet. It's super weird, but it's cool because I've never liked my feet, but it's nice that some people say that my feet are beautiful.
Okay, so I saw that and I was like,
Is there ever gonna be a fighter that comes out and is like so ashamed of their own feet that they give up on? They're like, hey, can I wear socks in the cage? I guess just ankle wrap, but the wrap goes between the toes.
Senhoras e senhores, sejam
Like, I don't want
bem-vindos
people
à
looking at my
partida
feet
de
while I
hoje.
fight.
Brasil
Then I
e
guess
Síria.
it would be too easy to hide like casting. Who was that famous boxer that wrapped his hands all fucked up? Anyway.
like, oh, I'm like, whatever, dude. It's not. Then I'm like, wait a minute. What is she doing here? Oh, she's really like she's feeding the feet guys, dude. Look at that. And then this, look at her foot in this, dude. She manicured her toes. She's all, take that picture. Make sure you get my feet. Dude, this is like foot OnlyFans, dude. Alexa Grasso. Look at this one. Dude, she loves these feet guys. This is amazing. So you're not going to subscribe? You would have never known that if it wasn't for me. All right, so we're going to talk about that. And then John Jones, not retiring after...
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Stipe, and neither is Dustin Poirier. Look at that, dude. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and those are the stories we're going to cover. Let's rock and roll. So let's just start right here, where Kamaru Usman and Triple C talked about Conor McGregor pulling out of the fight, and then we're going to segue into why I believe that this is all about the spear. Watch this.
Conor McGregor pulled out of UFC 303. They actually say that it was the smart move for Conor.
That was
We
a
finally
bad
got
team
answers
selection
to
for
why
me. I don't think
Mr.
anybody
Conor
wants to see
McGregor
Fury get beat.
had to pull out of the fight. But it is what it is. He said it himself. You know, he wants to be as close to 100% as possible, and that foot injury.
That was really poor on my part. I should have never picked. It was random. I didn't think that one through. See. So anyway, dude, let's just real quick. We'll go back.
Here's my feet. Like,
As possible, and that foot injury, you know, was kind of taking him off from doing that. It was gonna hurt his performance, so he did not want to go in there anymore. And Henry, it made sense when you're not fighting just to survive. You're not fighting for money. You're not fighting for all these things. You want to put out the best possible performance.
You know what I just realized? If I tell you what I think later, it's not as good as if I tell you right now, okay? And then we listen to all this stuff. Here's what I think is going on. I think that Dana is in the process of planning the Sphere show. He has been talking about the Sphere show constantly, absolutely constantly. He's already said he's $18 million invested into the Sphere show. And I just heard him say today that the show at the Sphere, I don't even want to say this out loud because as soon as he said this, I decided that absolutely 100% I am going to this show, and I don't want to drive up ticket prices even more than they probably already were going to be. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going no matter what. And here's what he said. He said that the show at the Sphere, the UFC show at the Sphere, is going to be the single greatest sporting event in history. Not the greatest fight in history. He said the great.
No. Nope. The single greatest sporting event in history. I respect him trying to accomplish that, or at least stating that he's gonna, like, that's the goal. But the performance is like, you can, I don't know how to say it, like, that's the goal. I get that he's gonna put a bunch of money into it. He's gonna try to make it that, but you can't say it's gonna be until after, or it is until after the event happens. You know, like the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Seahawks has to go down as one of the greatest of all times. Like, and nobody knew that going into it. You can hope for, but you can't. I guess you can. Yeah, aim high. I hope it is. It'd be great if it was.
Greatest sporting event in the history of sports. And he was 100% serious when he said it, okay? So think about that for a second now, all right? Now, if you have looked at videos of what can be done with the Sphere, and then if you imagine, and Dana is saying like that you can't even fathom the graphics that they are going to have going on in the Sphere for the UFC show, okay? So this is a once in a lifetime.
If they have the fights live on the Sphere around, it's gonna be within the first two events that there's gonna be somebody that gets knocked out from looking up and watching themselves live. I don't think you can project the fights, because you know how, like, they have like the screens above the events and they play them, and you know, so if you have a bad seat, you can watch it. Like, I wonder if that's what they're planning on doing with the Sphere. Because mark my words, I call it right now. Within the first two events, somebody's gonna look up at their ankle right as they get knocked out, because they were caught. They are going to get caught looking at themselves on the Sphere and KO'd.
Time opportunity to do this show. They're doing one. They're not doing two. They're not doing 10. They're doing one. They're going to do one fucking Sphere show. People are talking about this as if this is just going to be like, you know, the normal UFC just happens to be like in another building. That's not what this is. That is fucking not what this is.
Wait, if it turns out to be the greatest sporting event ever, how would you not do two? If it makes money, which there's a whole bunch of money invested in it, so it might just be they might be going into this knowing they're going to lose money. But if it does make money and it's the greatest event ever in sports history, why wouldn't you try to catch lightning in a bottle twice?
He's telegraphing it to everyone. I don't think people are hearing him yet, because I don't hear everyone talking about it yet, because bottom line, I'm not watching that on television. You want to put on a once-in-a-lifetime greatest sporting show of all time, I'm going to be there. And if you know that's what's in his head, you know that's what's in his head. And this is something like, if you've ever created anything, if you've been, you know, like each show is its own creation, right? If you've ever built a company or you've ever done a show, this is an organism that builds, right? It's something that is happening all at once. I know this process, okay? And I am telling you that as a person who knows the process, has gone through it, has been inspired, and then you have an idea and you're like, whatever. I think there is a very real possibility that at some point while they're doing the Sphere show, they look and he goes, we have to do McGregor and Chandler here. We have to. We have to do Chandler and McGregor here. We have to do it, dude. We have to do it. How can we have anyone else headline the show? It's going to be the biggest show of all time. We're only doing it one time. We got these two guys fighting 2 months before.
Pause faces are getting me. Doesn't that go against, don't you need the ticket sales to cover the cost of McGregor? I thought, you know, I don't know, maybe I've just seen too much of your stuff, Sir Jesse, if you see this, but I thought the ticket sales is what covers McGregor's fee.
Fuck that. We got to do Conor and Chandler. And as I'm saying this out loud, I realize I might be suggesting something that might be illegal if that were the case. I'm not 100% sure. So if anyone who is in the know knows that I am saying something that's illegal, I'm not actually suggesting that. I'm not. I'm just fucking talking, dude. But I'm just saying, I could certainly see a world where that becomes what it is. And then they're like, how can we do this? Right? Now, if you were going to move that fight from International Fight Week to the Sphere, what are you going to do? Got to come up with something, dude. You got to come up with something. It's all mysterious. No one knows if they're going to be able to do it. So, like, maybe instead of Conor having this weird injury where he's not sure if he's going to pull out or not, let me tell you something else, actually. Before I even get into that, how about this story? You guys happen to catch this story? Oh, what was Conor doing over the weekend during the fight that he was supposed to be at, right? Like, he was supposed to be headlining 303, right?
Conor might have just pulled off the greatest sidestep of an NDA ever. Like, okay, I won't talk about it. I'll just show him that the whole story's bullshit.
Oh, wait, so he didn't go because his toe's broken. His toe is broken. So what did he choose to do? Climb Mount Everest or whatever? This is what Conor did with his broken fucking toe? This is where Conor was with his broken toe. The peak of the tallest mountain in Switzerland. He didn't get there by helicopter. He fucking walked up there with a broken toe. He can't fight, but he can climb to the top of this mountain. That's what you're telling me. That's the story we're going with, and no one is suspicious of that. Okay? Because when I first saw that, I was like, I saw that yesterday. I'm like, what an asshole, man. What an asshole. Like, Chandler must be so pissed. I would be so pissed if I was Chandler. If he pulled out and then he's like, hey, what are you doing? Then Chandler's like, well, I'm at the UFC. Hey, what are you doing, Conor? He's all, the hardest thing a person can do with a pair of feet, dude. I need.
Since the fight was canceled, does Chandler get to renegotiate the contract? Because if that's the case, them calling the fight off or this or whatever this is, if Chandler can renegotiate to get more money or a bigger percentage of the pay-per-view or whatever, like if the fight happens, do they have to hold the same contract as before? Because if they do get to renegotiate, or if Chandler does get to renegotiate, I would go for more money, which would end up being a blessing in the long run. And if this whole thing that whatever Conor just did is his way of sidestepping an NDA and saying, yeah, it's all bullshit, man, it really could turn out to be, much better for Chandler in the long run.
I needed my toe to fight you, but I didn't need my toe to climb to the top of fucking Mount Everest. I would have been so mad.
Hold on. He didn't get to the top and then start fucking throwing high kicks at the peak. I mean, we can all agree he walked. Are we gonna say that fighting in a cage is equivalent to walking? Because if so, yeah, Conor's an asshole.
So mad, in fact, that it didn't make sense to me. Then today, when I saw Dana say they're going to put on the greatest show in the history of sports, I started going, wait a minute, dude. Wait a fucking minute. Now, I know what you're thinking. People are going to be like, they already asked Dana if Chandler and Conor are going to be fighting throughout this time frame. He said he won't even talk about Conor McGregor until he's healed. He already said it. Oh, yeah? Yeah? Well, let's say hypothetically.
Until Conor's healed, hasn't he been the bad guy the whole time? Oh, not
that I was
heel.
right. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But let's just say that the theory I said was what was happening. What do you think he would say? Okay? Of course he would say that. Because the people who bought tickets to this show, okay, you got to wait for the sting to come off a little bit. The Conor was not at the show that they were at, okay? You can announce that Conor is going to headline the Sphere anytime before the tickets go on sale. Why would you do it right now? Why would you do it? Of course you're going to say you don't know when. I'm not even talking about Conor. We got other things on our plate, you know? So when Conor and Chandler headline the Sphere, okay, you can say, wow, when Jesse goes for these things like the Hamzat Chimaev weight miss against Nate Diaz, people can say he's crazy, but a lot of times these things really shake out, you know? They really shake out. In the comments, this is where you say, Masvidal and Colby really do hate each other, and you were so fucking sure about that. I'm not sure about this. I just want them to headline the Sphere, so maybe I'm just creating scenarios in my brain. Maybe that's what's going on. No one knows yet. All right, so honestly, let's listen to Kamaru and Cejudo talk about this, and then we're going to move right along.
In the world, then hey, you know, you don't want to go in there hurt. You're not gonna go in there hurt. You got that. You got the. You know, you
want to know who would know about this? You want to know how many people would know that he's not hurt? His coach, Chandler, Conor, you know, and maybe maybe not even Chandler, honestly. You're talking about a very small amount of people who know. Like, you're talking absolute inner circle. So, like, when people are talking about the toe, if I'm right, then they got, man. They got. I don't even know if I'm right. I mean, if he could have a broken toe, he could be in rehab. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's in rehab since he's climbing fucking Mount Everest.
have the option to be able to do that, and that's
Sure, slap the living shit out of this girl.
Did he slam Paige Van Zandt's power slap?
Huh? You gonna slap the living shit out of who? It's my first time watching it, I swear. The timing was
Slap debut. Van
impeccable.
Zandt finally got back on the winning track this past Friday at Power Slap 8. In this intriguing debut, the former UFC fighter landed cleaner shots over the course of 3 rounds, earning her a win by unanimous.
There's no way. There's no way. Like, what? I don't really know what's being talked about. The cleaner shots, of course. Who has hours? Just imagine hours spent training, striking. Who has more? Really? Are we surprised about this? We're gonna go, I can't believe. Oh no. Alright. What the fuck just happened? Look at me, I'm just wiggling it all around. Like that. Take it out. There we go. Alright. I'll play again real quick. Now I got shit stuck in my teeth. Really can't be too surprised, I guess. I don't know. What's the word for it? Oh. My controller is dead. It is not working. Alright, we're not gonna go with Syria this time. Especially against Brazil, you know, that's just an automatic hard game. We're trying to play on easy. Easy matches. Just play a quick game. A quickie. What do you call a quickie that ends up taking too long? What do you call a quickie that takes too long and ends up being a complete waste of time? Called a slowie. Wait, which one did I pick first? just silence. I'm gonna sit here in silence while I play this game, so that AI edits it out when I have them ultimately do all the boring stuff when it comes to creating shorts. Roll.
The goal scorer for Arsenal after 26 minutes is number 29, Kai Havertz.
Oh, chill out, Rev. It's not the fucking end of the world. You dumb cunt. Leave me the fuck alone. Oh shit. Well, go get the fucking ball, dummy. Get on with it. this is bad. Oh, this is bad.
There will be 3 minutes added time. Please welcome everyone, our lads. The attendance for this match was 71,898. Substitution on the field. Number 10, Rashford. Coming on the field is number 14, Eriksson. The goal scorer for Arsenal after 64 minutes is number 29, Kai Havertz.
Nice forehand goal. Good job. Good forehand job. Come on.
The goal scorer for Arsenal after 90 minutes is number 29, Kai Havertz. Substitution on the field, number 17, number 39, McTominay. Coming on the field, number 16, number 11. 2 added minutes has been indicated.
Oh, that was a tough one. Oh, shit.
Volunteers for each block, please report to the staff room immediately.
trying to think. Let's get rid of the noise. Noise, bye. 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 I like that. Let's see what we can find. Let's react to something else. Let's do it. Go ahead and bring that in here. Go ahead and make this bigger.
What is it that you get paid currently?
Senator, that's well disclosed in our proxy documents in each of the years that I've been employed.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's a big number, sir.
Well, let me help you out. It's $32.8 million this year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
That's a 45% increase over last year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
What is it you get paid to do exactly?
I get paid to run the Boeing company.
Yeah. So just help me understand that. I mean, do you get paid for transparency? Is that one of the metrics for your income?
I think the board counts on me for transparency.
Really? Because you're under investigation for falsifying 787 inspection records. The Boeing's under criminal investigation for the Alaska Airlines flight. You were investigated by DOJ for criminal conspiracy to defraud the FAA. This is all in your tenure. This doesn't sound like a lot of transparency to me. So it's working out great for you. For the American people, they're in danger. For your workers, they're in peril. For your whistleblowers, they literally fear for their lives, but you're getting compensated like never before. Why haven't you resigned?
Senator, I'm sticking this through. I'm proud of having taken the job. I'm proud of our
Proud of this
safety.
record?
The 45% pay. Dude, you don't give yourself a raise and then resign. There's absolutely no way. There is no way. What kind of idiot would pay themselves that much more money a year? Wait, what was it? 32 million a year? Yeah. And why don't you resign? I think there's 32.8 million reasons why he doesn't. 45% pay increase in a year. That's is there any outside of CEO pay and like top executive pay in corporations? Like, is there ever been a 45% pay increase at the bottom? Like, for the majority? Like, is it a thing? Is that something that can happen? Or has happened? I mean, of course it could. Anything's possible. But has it?
Record, and I am
You're proud of this safety
proud
record.
of our Boeing people.
You're proud of this safety record?
I am proud of every action we have taken.
Every action you've taken?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. There's some news for you.
That's crazy. Who did that? Way to go, dude. What are the qualifications to be a CEO? That's what I want to know. Like, how do you get that job? You got to go to school. You got to go to Ivy League school. So you pretty much got to be born into a life. Like, how many CEOs in Fortune 500 companies came from poverty? Is that a statistic that's easily found? And Boeing's a pretty good company to work for. They're here in where I'm at. Like I've heard nothing but good things working for Boeing. Like anybody that I've ever spoke to that has had a job with Boeing outside of the strikes and the shit from like a long time ago, as far as working there, like this, and this was all before the whistleblowing took place. I haven't talked to anybody that worked there in years, but I used to hear nothing but good things about working for Boeing. Obviously, being a CEO, fucking phenomenal. Like, why would you not want to be the CEO? I am really interested though, like how many CEOs of Fortune 500 companies started from the bottom, and how many were born into lives, won the lottery, the life lottery, and just kind of were raised into being millionaires and being able to give themselves 45% pay increases. Rudy Giuliani disbarred. Steve Bannon sent. Look at my background. I should just go full screen for this, but I don't wanna, and I can do what I want. I mean, for a little bit longer. Do we
I continue to think we have to make.
Oh my God. What is this? All right, dude. All right. Oh, excuse me. I'm so gassy, dude. I don't know what it is. I think I'm allergic to, Is that even the same person? It almost, you look at those images side by side, and what I see is the Democrats, a political party, trying to throw. It's either they know that they're gonna do a bait and switch, like they're gonna walk Biden in because they know the girl's willing to do. That's not a good analogy. They're parading Biden out there, knowing that at the last minute, like, they're gonna parade him out there, they're gonna make him look older, more incompetent. They're gonna walk him through the two debates, and then at the last second, they're gonna switch him out for the younger, more Californian candidate. I wouldn't be surprised, but they don't even look the same. Like, this is effort. This is them trying. Look, hey, look, we're really trying. 2019, they're all there, and then 2024 is like, yeah, we don't even need to try, dude. We're going against Trump, dude. Trump's. They could also believe that Trump is gonna get some kind of charge. Like, they have a lot of confidence in their criminal charge debacle they have going with Trump.
Make fundamental changes in civil rights, and those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
He wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare for the ability to, for the.
Haven't you been saying for the last couple?
Hold on. That was. Tell me that this is. Isn't the president is essentially the CEO of the United States, right? We just watched the Boeing CEO. He can articulate his thoughts and ideas as fucking, I don't even know the right word, as he articulates well. That should be what we hold our president, that standard. That what, as wrong as that guy is and whatever he's been got going on. However, the CEO, I want the president to speak like the Boeing CEO spoke in front of.
He wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare for the ability Do it for the.
Haven't you been saying for the last couple?
You're gonna that is just real quick. That's a great clip, dude. That should be fireable. If you've ever painted, I used to paint genie lifts, industrial. Oh man, fun job. Had this guy come in once, and he was like, "Oh, 30 years experience, 30 years. I know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna need to be trained. You don't need to show me nothing. I know everything about about painting. I've been doing this for 30 years." And then that's kind of like the performance. Like, he sprayed himself in the face one time, so we used to have to paint the paint booth floors so that we could peel it up because the buildup would get so bad. I mean, we're talking like thick, maybe not that thick, but you know, like. And so we had him go in there and spray one time, and we look in. He gets about halfway done. He's sitting on a stool, and it's a HVLP gun connected to hoses, so it's not cup fed or gravity fed. It's you know, and then there's drums. The paint would come out. The primer came out of 55-gallon drums. And we look into the paint booth, and he's about halfway done. He's got his half mask on, his respirator, with no filters, and he is sitting on a stool with wheels on it. So he's sitting down, and he's just hovering over the floor, like just bent over, and he's spraying. And we had to like run in and like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, where's your filters? Like, you don't even have your filters on your mask right now." He's like, "Oh." That's what Biden reminds me of. Biden reminds me of that guy. And, like, that wasn't even the worst thing that guy did with the gun in his hands. Before that incident happened, he walked into the paint booth once, and he was looking at the gun. He's like, "Hey, can I take a look at the gun?" And we're like, "Okay." And I wasn't the painter that he did this to. I was standing on the other side of the paint booth. And he goes... And I look over. Actually, no, I saw him walking by, and half of his face was painted. And so I walk up to the painter that was in the booth. That, you know, I go, "Hey, what happened?" And he goes, "Oh, so he was looking at the gun, and he had it. So the trigger's right here. So normally you'd hit it like this. So he had the trigger, his thumb on the trigger, and the gun pointed at his face. And he hits the trigger and just blasts himself with primer. I mean, like, just coats half of his face." And we're just like, "Wait, hold on. You are the guy that told us that you've been doing this for 30 years and nobody here." Like, his first day on the job, I'm in the quality hut, and the leads come walking over with him, and I'm doing quality control for the paint, looking for holidays and sags and like making sure it can go out to the line. And they walk over and they're like, "Hey," and they introduce us, and they're like, "Hey, can you just kind of show them the ropes?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Like, yeah, of course, why not? And they walk away, and he goes, "I'm going to be your boss in 2 weeks." And I'm just like, "All right, cool. I don't need to show you anything then." Like, all right. I just took a step back, and then it was like 3 months later, he's spraying himself in the face, still hasn't gotten in the booth. And that's pretty much what I feel like Biden does every time he gets in front of a microphone, and and he's our president. Like, he is grabbing the gun, holding it wrong, and spraying himself in the face and calling himself he's not calling him. He is our president. He isn't the president? Yeah, the president is the CEO of our nation, and here we are. Just like, what more does he have to do to be fired? And if Joe Biden can do this, and we have to pick between Biden and Trump, two elderly, they should be retired. Like, let's not make any bones about this. Like, those two men should not be working. They have done enough for our country, I would imagine. Like, they've been tax-paying citizens. Like, at what point do we go, "Yeah, no, you guys are good. Like, go kick your feet up. Get some lemonade. Go play golf. You two should be golfing every weekend against each other. Shit, we'll put a camera on you guys, and you guys are entertaining as fuck. We'll watch it, obviously. Like, we'll tune in. You guys are doing a fantastic job of entertaining the country. You just don't need to do it for the position or the cost that it is right now, where the president of the United States title should not be up for grabs or held by either one of these men. And yeah, here we are. Just Trump support, like Trump's too old too. Like it is. If you can be that old and do the job, is the job really needed? And that's what we should all be asking ourselves. Like, is this even really a necessity? And why do we make, if it is, why are we making such a big deal out of the President of the United States of America if the elderly, men over 70 can do it? That's crazy. I don't know.
He wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare
Haven't you been saying for the last couple of years, a bit worried about Joe Biden and whether or not he might have premature, or not even premature senility at an appropriate age, if ever such a sad and tragic thing could ever be called appropriate. And now, finally, after it was shown live, it's being covered. In a way, it's no different than the...
Just real quick, I think anybody wearing camo, it should be illegal for people wearing camo to use such big words. I have no idea what you just said. And I'm not going to Google it. This might be above my pay grade watching Russell Brand. What happened to the dude from the movies? It was like pissing dads off and shit. Is that the same guy?
Reporting around the pandemic or the reporting around the origins of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. For a while, there's this kind of low hum of what they regard as conspiracy theories and hate speak, where people are saying, I'm a bit worried about Joe Biden. That doesn't look right. He's wandered off in the wrong direction. He didn't finish that sentence correctly. He's making up numbers. He can't just say that. All these things about corn pop, none of this stuff makes sense. Then eventually it sort of permeates the sphere of the mainstream, and I can't work out what's happening because their hysteria suggests that it's a natural and organic reaction, and yet it does seem tempting to consider, as Vivek Ramaswamy suggested, along with many others, that the reason that the debates were 3 months early was precisely to afford them the ability to replace Joe Biden. And certainly that seems like an increasingly necessary outcome. But when you want reliable reaction...
How has nobody in the Democratic Party stepped up and said... Like, these are people that we have nominated and elected and put into place, and, like, you are in a position of power. Like, you oversee whatever you do, half the government, whatever. And nobody's like, we cannot put Biden out there. We should not. They should be discussing, I don't think he can finish the presidency that he's in now. Not, can we get 4 more years out of him? And these are the people that we've elected to make decisions on our behalf. I know superintendents and foremen that could run this country and make better decisions for the people, but they'll never be elected because they didn't go to the schools. They don't play the political game, which is kind of goes to show just how fucked up our political system is, that we don't have the right people running this country. I want people that can run a job site in office, that know how to follow a budget. We don't need politicians. We need tradesmen running the country.
When you want the truth, even if he's not on CNN as much as we'd like, you turn to Brian Stelter. And that's what we're going to do now. You may have turned away from Brian Stelter as I have turned away from sin. But Brian is here for you, right here, right now.
Look, if you're in a battle between someone who lies really confidently versus someone who mostly tells the truth but really incoherently, the confident liar is always going to win.
That's what he's framing this as now, is that the lies of Donald Trump are brilliantly delivered, whereas Joe Biden's lies are falteringly delivered, for surely there was much fact-checking to be had. So part of the legacy media are scrambling to reframe this. We saw Rachel Maddow kind of say that over the course of it, he got stronger and stronger, and by the end of it, he was brilliant and bombastic and rousing and Churchillian. And another portion of the establishment media, but the establishment more generally, are looking at ways to dispatch Joe Biden.
And I think many millions of Americans who don't want to see Trump reelected were yelling at their TVs, wanting Biden to fight back harder, wanting to see an actual debate, an actual fight. They didn't get that. They came away disappointed.
People that have his take should not be. If there's anybody in this country that was sitting there going, I want more fight from my president in a conversation, fight back, that turned into a fucking kindergarten level insult fest. And these are supposed to, I just don't. It is really, really disappointing that this guy, like, you get paid to speak, and what you speak is just nonsense. If you're watching that, and I don't care who you support, if you watched that presidential debate and you were like, I'm okay with either one of them being president, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. It's that simple. You should not be allowed to vote. If you support either of those candidates, you should lose your right to vote, because you're not making the decisions based on who's the best candidate and what's best for the country. You are making decisions based on your political fucking party. And that's what we need to get. We need to remove that altogether. You're not part of the solution. You are part of the problem if you support either of the two candidates for president.
I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights, and those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
He wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing.
What if this is Biden? What if just what if real quick? What if Biden himself is doing this because he's just not willing to man up and say I don't want this job, but from the pressure from people in his political party and the people that have paid for his campaigns and the funding, he wasn't able to get done what he was expected to get done from his campaign donators, the lobbyists and all that stuff. So they're like, hey, no, you have to stay in another 4 years. We didn't get what we paid for. And so here he is going, it just becomes a shell of what he used to be, because he can't or is not allowed to just step aside and be like, I'm good. And the reason why he's not allowed to is because, he's expected to make good on donations and things. I don't know if it's promises, but political agreements. People pay for, hey, we'll help you get in office if you do this. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So his back was scratched. He got into office. He wasn't able to fulfill all his side of the bargain, and here he is, just doing what he can to bow out.
And with everything we have to do with, look, if
you will determine the outcome of this election, vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban. on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
It's got to the point where even the legacy media are starting to abandon him and rescind their support. It can still rely on a few people, but what are their motivations? When you see Nancy Pelosi, who's a figure that doesn't really inspire a great deal of trust, going to bat for Joe Biden, you have to wonder if this cadre of senescence and decay is somehow the living symbol of the decline that we are living through. Elsewhere in the world, the media establishment febrilely describes a lurch to the right, as if nationalism and a connection to your land and political figures that talk about that country, your country's interests first.
We should really kind of put a microscope on any politician that still publicly supports Biden. Trump, you can the lying. That's yeah. Really, there should be a microscope on both sides, but I really don't think there's enough microscopes to go around.
People would ask me, knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with
The actual truth is, I'm sure that's a sort of a joke, that it's not.
I wonder how much he would pay the person. You know what I mean? I'd be down. I'd be down to be the guy in the microphone. I mean, I kind of... it's a story for another day, but, you know, like just being the voice in the ear, you know? How much are you going to pay me? And are you going to take my voice without consent? Dude? It's all negotiated. It's all negotiable. But that... isn't that... I mean, if you don't write your own speeches, which I'm pretty sure most politicians don't write, like ghostwriting is frowned upon in rap. It's about the only area I believe where it's like, oh, you didn't write your own stuff? Somebody wrote that for you? Oh, well then we're gonna, like, there's a whole community that just shames people that don't write their own things. But in every other music genre, songwriters, like, there are songs that have 5 to 10 writers collabing to write the lyrics to one song. So whether it's a voice in the ear or ink on a paper, presidents are already pretty much told what to say. I don't know how different it would be. Than it is now. I guess you don't have to memorize it. Is that what they're doing with Biden? They're making it where there's, instead of a teleprompter, it's just a voice in the air. Why don't you just put the person in front of the microphone? If a president, if somebody like Obama can trust somebody enough to tell them what to say, why are we looking for the people in the microphone? Why aren't we trying to figure out who the people are that are writing the speeches? Like, why don't you nominate whoever it is that you're willing to have as a voice in your ear, and that's who we should have leading our country. We shouldn't be going like we shouldn't be parading out people that don't think or speak or have their own voice. Plagiarism is punishable in areas where, like, I can't go and rewrite an entire book and then sell it with my name on it, but yet we allow presidents to recite things that they haven't themselves written. Which I understand there's time constraints, but then why do we have our presidents so busy that they can't even write their own speeches? Is Biden's condition really, should that be used as an example of the president's being overworked and overscheduled for 4 years? Like, who can keep up with the rigorous schedule of being a president if that's what it's going to do? And if their schedule is too busy. Once again, why are they so fucking old?
Not a cadre of ex-presidents that runs America, but powerful global corporate interests that, for the purposes of corroboration, we can track and look at financial dominion and resource power. We can see how that maps and moves and is maneuvered, and who spends money on donations. And
I'm not trying to steal. I'm gonna have to. Fucking fantastic. I'll have to watch it when I'm not fucking sitting here. This might be the most I've ever fucking talked. Hey, anyway, if you see this, yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Now, fuck off.